the attendees?
Absolutely. Hello, Viva Tech attendees! It's fantastic to connect with so many brilliant minds and innovators.
I really like how you started, but could you make it even more alive and a bit more excited, as if you were talking to a large audience of amazing founders?
Absolutely. Hello, Viva Tech attendees! Are we ready to ignite the spark of innovation and set the tech...
ChatGPT, thank you. I think they really enjoyed that.
That's awesome to hear. If there's anything else I can help with or add some excitement to, just let me know.
So the first thing to notice here in this experience, like first, extremely low latency. It's amazing to talk to ChatGPT in real time. The second thing to note is that I can now interrupt the model in real time. I don't really have to wait for the entire audio to finish. I can just re-engage in the conversation whenever I feel like. And the third thing that you might have noticed as well is that it now understands tones and can generate tones as well. So when I was trying to get ChatGPT to be more engaged, more excited, that in turn changed the audio output. And of course, you have all of the amazing reasoning capabilities behind the scenes, which means I can use this for like an immense amount of use cases, like for instance, say real-time translation. Let's try this. Hey ChatGPT, I'm here at Viva Tech, but I'd like you to act as a translator. So can you translate everything I say in English back to French and vice versa?
Salut, bien sûr, je peux faire ça. Dis-moi simplement ce que tu veux dire et je le traduirai pour toi.
What do you think is going to be your favorite sports at the Olympics?
Qu'est-ce que tu prévois? It could be your favorite sport at the Olympics. À ton avis, quel sera ton sport préféré aux Jeux Olympiques?
So see, you can really use it in real time, and we're still, of course, making progress in the French accent here. But it's really interesting to see how you can use these experiences for education of any kind of use cases, like traveling and real-time use case. But the second thing that I also wanted to show you beyond the voice capabilities was also the vision capabilities. So I've never done this before on the Mac app because I was supposed to show this to you on iPhone, but I'm just going to try it anyway. So let's go ahead. Hey ChatGPT, I'd love your help to navigate around the city, so I'm going to draw something and I'll show it to you. Does that sound good?
Sure thing. Go ahead and draw what you need, and I'll do my best to help you navigate around the city.
All right, give me a moment.
No rush. Take your time.
He's patient.
I'm right here when you're ready.
All right, so I'm going to turn on the camera here.
Got it. Ready when you are.
So what do you see?
Looks like you've drawn the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe, two iconic Parisian landmarks. How can I help you with them?
That's pretty awesome. Thank you for understanding my bike drawings. Yeah, so I'd like to have your help to navigate there, and I'll show you a map here. It looks like we are at Porte de Versailles, right here.
Got it. You're starting at Porte de Versailles. To get to the Eiffel Tower, you can take the Metro Line 12, M12, from Porte de Versailles to Concorde. Then switch to Line 8, M8, towards Ballard, and get off at École Militaire. From there, it's a short walk to the Eiffel Tower.
Awesome.
To reach the Arc de Triomphe.
I think I got this sorted. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great time.
So something that's interesting here to note is this idea that like vision capabilities are in real time. So I can actually like draw something, show a video, as opposed to just taking a photo like before. But one of my favorite use cases...
Paris. Gabad, sounds like you're on stage again. What's next?
I'm just gonna, yeah, it's muted. The last thing I want to show you with the Mac app here is an example where I love using it personally as a coding assistant. So let's try that. So I'm gonna pull up ChatGPT on the right side here, and I'm gonna bring up some code. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unmute ChatGPT, and I'm gonna send ChatGPT some code to give us a little bit of context on this code, and we'll try to fix a bug in real time. Hey ChatGPT, so I'd love your help for a coding question.
Sure, I can help with that.
Yeah.
What's your recruiting question?
So I'm just gonna copy some code over to you.
All right, go ahead and share the code when you're ready.
Can you describe, just in one line overview, like what's the code looking like?
The code is a React component named Discover that renders a grid of Discover card components, with data for each card being pulled from a trips.json file.
Awesome, yeah, that's right. Now what I'd like you to do is to take a look at my screen I'm going to share with you here. And now if you look at my screen, what I'd like to change is that it looks like it's not really responsive on mobile screens. See, like the content is really squashed. Can you help me make this page responsive?
Sure, let's make it more responsive. You can adjust the number of columns in your grid based on the screen size using Tailwind CSS's responsive design features. Here's a quick way to modify your grid layout. Div color, call this scheme, grid call of 1, same as 0 to 4 column. That makes up most...
I see, so I'm actually using Tailwind, so can you tell me like what should the attributes be?
Absolutely. For Tailwind, you can adjust your grid calls classes to make the grid responsive. Here's how you can set it up. Grid calls will control how many columns you have based on the current screen size, so you don't need too many to fill the grid, which is a good rule of thumb for most responsive designs like this. This sets 1 column for most screen sizes, 2 columns for small...
I see, so I should just do like small, I should put 1, is that right? And then more as we go?
Exactly.
Okay.
You can adjust the number of columns based on different screen sizes. For example, grid calls 1 for 1 column on default small screens, sn-grid calls-2 for 2 columns on small screens and up, md grid calls-3 for 3 columns on medium screens and up, and so on. Tailwind's response...
Okay, I think I got this. Can you take a look and see if it looks good?
Sure, let me take a look. It looks like the changes you've made should make your grid more responsive on different screen sizes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I think we have the app perfectly responsive now. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. Enjoy the responsive app.
And one thing I wanted to pull out here is like not only can we engage, practically dive into a problem, like a coding problem, you can copy code, you can actually look in real time at the screen. But what's also interesting to pull out is the speed of GPT-4o, even for text, right? Like when we have this new playground where you can compare side by side GPT-4o to say GPT-4 if I hit run to create this song about the Olympics, you can see how much faster it is to create content versus GPT-4 So it's a very high reasoning ability at like more than twice the speed. All right, so let's go back to the slides now. So our first incarnation of agents for developers is what we call the Assistance API. And the Assistance API is a complete toolkit that all of you can use in order to bring assistance into your products. So in this case here, I'm building this like travel app called Wanderlust, and you can see there's like a map on the right side, but there's also an assisted experience on the left side. And so this is completely powered by the Assistance API. So let's take a quick look. If I say top 5 venues for the Olympics in Paris, first of all, first thing to note, I don't have to manage any of those. Let's refresh the app a little bit. Sounds like maybe lost network. Top 5 venues for the Paris Olympics. The first thing to note is like I don't have to manage that conversation history. That conversation history is automatically managed by the Assistance API from OpenAI, and so I don't have to kind of manage my prompt and so on. Not sure what's happening here. Let's take a quick look. Might have lost some Wi-Fi? No connection? No. Let's try it one last time. Let's go to Rome. There we go. Sounds like the Olympics was bad luck, but sounds like we're back. So yeah, I don't have to actually manage any of those messages. The conversation history is automatically managed by OpenAI. The second thing that's really cool to pull out here is that, as you can see, when I started to interact with these messages, the map zoomed automatically. And that's one of my favorite features when I build agents. It's called function calling. And function calling is the ability for all of you to bring knowledge about your unique features in your app and your unique functions over to the model, in this case, GPT-4o. So if I say top 5 things to see in Rome, let's see what happens here. In theory, what should pop up here is once again an interaction between the text and the map. Here we go. So now, as you can see, as we are talking to the model, it's able to actually pinpoint the map because it knows that this feature exists. So it's really, really cool. And that's like already available as part of the toolkit of the Assistance API. Now, another tool I wanted to call out here is into the conversations with models like GPT-4o, and usually you have to build like a retrieval stack to do so. And we've learned from so many developers how complex that can be. And so we've made a ton of improvements in our retrieval stack, and so I'm just trying to see if I can actually demo this in real time. So I actually bought this book to prepare a trip to Italy from Lonely Planet. It's a pretty comprehensive book. It has 250 pages, it's 95 megabytes, so I hope the upload is gonna work. It's again a bit of a risk here. But what's happening in real time is as soon as the file will be uploaded, it will be automatically embedded by the Assistance API so that I don't have to think about any of these things to do. I will be able to just start interacting in the conversation and say, based on this book, what's the best photo spot in Lazio? So before I press enter, I'll show you a quick look at page 126, I believe. Let's go to page 126. So the page 126 talks about Lazio, right? And so I'm gonna ask the question here, what's the best photo spot in Lazio? And as I'm browsing the book, we're noticing here that the photo opportunity was mentioned on page 128, and it's supposed to be Pitigliano. And boom, in real time, we were able to find in this book that this is exactly the place for a photo spot. And again, I had to do no engineering work. I just had to upload the file in the conversation that was all taken care of for me. Last but not least, there's also another tool that I wanted to highlight called Code Interpreter. And Code Interpreter is this ability to write Python code in the background to answer some very precise questions, usually around numbers and math and financial data. So here, for instance, if I were to say in this conversation, we are sharing an Airbnb for 4, it's 1,200 euros. What's my share plus my flight cost of, let's say, 260? Now, by asking these questions, this is not a typical thing that LLMs do great at by default, right? But what's happening behind the scenes is that we're actually computing all of this, including currency conversion and so on, by writing code in the sandbox. And once again, as a developer, I have nothing to do. But because OpenAI is managing this, does not mean it's a black box. In fact, if I go here, and if we refresh the threads, we should see here that this is the exact threads that we've been feeding. And you can see we're going to Rome, all of the messages, we see the function calls that I highlighted to annotate the map. And here, this is the Python code that was written behind the scenes to actually answer the question, compute the currency conversion, divide by the number of people, and so on. So really, the Assistance API complete toolkit with conversation history, with access to retrieval and files. You can upload now up to 10,000 files in retrieval, and even Code Interpreter and function calling. All of this we can build on from day one. Now, last but not least, I wanted to show you another kind of demo than just conversation. So using the Mac app from ChatGPT, we've seen audio conversations, and this is also going to be coming in the next few weeks in the API. We've also seen the Assistance API available today for text-based conversation that has vision support as well. But I wanted to do something a little different with our multimodality. So I'm sure most of you have seen the preview of Sora, and Sora is our diffusion model that's able to generate videos from a simple prompt. And at this stage, it's still a preview, but I wanted to show you what the model can create with a prompt like this one. And this prompt talks about Paris during the Expo Universelle in a colorized vintage film. So this is the only part of the demo that's not live, because in the interest of time, I previously sent this prompt to Sora. This is what came out of it. New edits. The only edit we made was actually just to add some sound on top of it. But this is really magical to experience these frames. But now, what if we want to take this video and do something quite interesting with it? What if we want to create a script to narrate what's happening on those visuals? So the first step here is that I'm going to slice a few frames out of this video from a minute. So here we are, we have 6 frames. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send these 6 frames to GPT-4o, and in real time, we'll get a story about what is happening in those frames. So to give you a sneak peek behind the scenes, this is the code I'm going to be running. So I'm going to be saying, hey, you are a history professor. You'll be given a series of images, and I would like you to narrate those. And I'm simply taking all of the images that we're showing on screen, sending that to GPT-4o, and streaming the responses back. So again, it's happening in real time. So let's see what GPT-4o will come up with for that story. And here we go. So that's a story completely generated on the fly using our vision capabilities in GPT-4o. And now, what if I want to go one step ahead? And what if I would like to share this video, but this time bring it to life with some audio to share it more broadly? So I'm just going to record a little bit of a sample here of my voice and see what comes out for the narration. So let's take a look. Hey, so I'm very excited to be on stage here at Viva Tech. I've been meeting some amazing founders and developers already. I'm very excited as well to show them some live demos and how they can really apply the OpenAI technology and models in their own products and businesses. All right, so I think that should be good enough. Hey, so I'm very excited to be on stage here at Perfect. And now the last step is I'm going to share this audio sample with the script that we created over to text-to-speech, and we'll bring everything together for our modalities to experience this history lesson. In the heart of Paris, during the 1889 Exposition Universelle, the Eiffel Tower stands proudly as a symbol. So it's now narrating the video that I can share, and of course I can speak many languages, but now if I want to share it, say, not just in French, but other languages, I can click through it to be able to share that content more broadly. So here in the second year is the French. L'Exposition Universelle de 1889, la Tour Eiffel se dresse fièrement comme un symbole d'innovation et de vision pour l'avenir. And let's try one last one in Japanese, élégamment vêtus. Des personnes de tous horizons se rassemblant pour admirer les merveilles architecturales et les technologies de pointe exposées. Can I take a second? Les calèches se faufilent à travers les promenades. This is me speaking Japanese to share this audience to Japan. And last but not least, I can also add transcription to add subtitles on top of it. So once again, this is very much like a preview. Wanted to give you a sneak peek. We take safety extremely seriously with these kind of models and capabilities, so that's why we're only giving this to trusted partners at this time. But I hope just in general this inspires you in terms of what all of these modalities will be able to accomplish and how you can start thinking about the future when it comes to building your own apps and products. So let's go back to our presentation to wrap up. We're trying to drive up textual intelligence. We're making our models faster and more affordable for all of you to scale. We're helping you customize the models as well for your needs. And finally, we're empowering you to build multimodal agents, as you've seen with the Assistance API. So if there's one thing I'd like you to take away from this presentation, I'd like to leave you with this. Our goal at OpenAI is not for you to spend more with OpenAI, but in fact, our goal is for you to build more with OpenAI, and that's really the takeaway for us. And we really want you to kind of take this thought with you. I think that's why we're trying to push the textual intelligence. That's why we're trying to always drive the cost down for the model, so you all can build amazing things for your own users and customers. We're really dedicated to supporting startups and developers. We look forward to partnering with as many of you as possible. One of the top questions that we often receive from developers is how could you prepare? How could I prepare for future models? What should I expect? And we really think there's two strategies to think about. One is you can bet the models are going to stay roughly the same, and you can work around GPT-4 and what it does today. Or second, you can think about how the models are going to be much more capable in the future, and you can bet on the future of AI. And we think the latter is much more likely. So, our recommendation is really to build for that future of AI. And we know that this is how the most innovative developers can out-execute the slower incumbents. So with that, thank you so much, and we can't wait to see what you build. Thank you.